Launch control active. Say hello to the BMW 550e. This is a plug-in hybrid variant of the 5 Series, which happens to be the most powerful non-N model. It has 483 horsepower, does 0 to 60 in around 4 seconds, and you can do around 33 miles in electric-only mode. Fully charging this thing takes around 3 hours using level 2. Pricing starts at around $75,000. As tested, we're looking at 87 grand, and this is almost a fully loaded model. When it comes to other stuff, this thing obviously sits on BMW's rear-wheel drive CLAR platform. So we have a double wishbone suspension up front, multi-link setup in the back. In case of our tester, we have a dynamic handling package, which gives us adaptive dampers and rear axle steering to make this thing feel more nimble and dynamic, because it is heavy, weighs 4,900 pounds. Obviously, new generation vehicle plus hybridization, it adds up extra pounds. We have upgraded brakes with bigger rotors and different brake compound. Our tester is on Pirelli P0's all-season tires, 245, 40 R20 up front and 275 in the back, so it is a staggered setup. When it comes to design, I wasn't a huge fan when the G60 generation first came out, especially if we compare to the G30, which was one of the most beautiful modern BMWs. I will say though, this design has grown on me, looks a little better than it did when it first came out, especially if you get it in a dark paint and with an M Sport package. Let's quickly pop the hood and talk about what's happening there. In typical BMW fashion, we have to pull the lever twice to unlatch the hood. And here is one of the best 6-cylinder engines on the market, the B58 3-liter single turbo straight 6. On its own, the engine makes 304 horsepower, if I remember correctly. And we have 194 horsepower electric motor that sits between the engine and the transmission. Total powertrain output is 483 horses, 516 pound-feet of torque. We obviously have an 8-speed ZF automatic transmission on board, which puts down the power to all 4 wheels. Here's the charge port. Like I said, using level 2 takes around 3 hours to get from 0 to 100. We don't have fast charging capability like we do in a Mercedes AMG E53, but to be honest, we don't really need that. This car mostly relies on an internal combustion engine. Let's take a quick look inside, starting with the seats. They are very comfortable, offer lots of adjustments, extensible thigh support, inflatable bolsters. They are heated and cooled, and in case of our tester, they are wrapped in real leather. As standard, we get synthetic leather in the 5 Series. Very good seat design. Going to the door panel, we have very deep pockets. Obviously, all 4 windows are fully automatic. Sadly, we don't get a Bowers & Wilkins sound system in our tester. It is a Harman Kardon, sounds okay, but it is a base audio. So if you're an audiophile, upgrade to Bowers & Wilkins. Step inside, and as you expect from BMW, you sit pretty deep, maybe not necessarily low, but deep. You can shut the door and start this thing up. Obviously, the car is gonna use electric mode since we have 37 miles of range, according to the computer. Let's talk about the cabin, which has been a subject of controversy with the new 5 Series. The quality is down. While we have a lot of soft touch materials and everything is very well put together, there is a lot of piano black, and the quality of plastics themselves is just not at the level that it was in the G30 or F10 generations of the 5. Now, when it comes to the good, great amount of storage across the cabin, wireless charger, cup holders with USB-C charging ports. I don't know if BMW just didn't learn their lesson to not put USB ports right by cup holders. Just gonna spill something and they're not gonna work. Under the armrest area is okay, not very deep, but there's a 12-volt socket and you can fit some of the stuff. And we do have a glove box that is lined with felt, metal trim or aluminum trim, which feels nice, and noticeably less physical controls. After a while, you get used to it, and BMW says you can use voice commands to control different things, but there are days when I don't want to talk to people, let alone talk to the car. Besides that, the technology implementation is great. This thing runs BMW OS 8.5. It is very quick to respond, has a lot of menus and options. It takes you a while to figure out where things are, but once you set it up, you're once and done. You don't have to worry about anything. There are still some haptic controls to access commonly used functions, next, previous track, drive modes, vehicle settings, shortcuts for the infotainment system. If you want to control your interior lighting, you can just click right here on top. Same with lights, because we need a physical switch. And some seat controls. Again, not a perfect solution, not the best, but it gets the job done. Right in front of us, we have a customizable gauge cluster. We can select what it displays. So you can have assisted view, augmented reality if you would like, change the layout of the gauges, and do some other things. Pretty well implemented, can't complain about that, but I will say BMW used to make one of the most beautiful analog gauges. If they gave us that design here, I wouldn't be mad. They were just simple in their nature and provided all information that we needed. Let's take a look at the back seat. See how it is in there. The door opens pretty wide. I don't have high expectations because it is a German mid-size sedan, but I sit pretty low and deep, have good amount of legroom. Headroom's also not that bad, even with the sunroof. BMW carried over materials from the front door panels, so they're pretty good. To get sunshades. There is also a rear sunshade that doesn't have the controls here, so you have to ask the driver to do this for you. Armrest with a cup holder, heated outer seats. We can get an optional 4-zone climate control. This tester doesn't have it, so there's just some storage area in here. You can put your tablet in here using BMW's mount. Additional USB-C charging ports, and the design is nice. I like it. It still has that cockpit that's tilted toward the driver, and you know it's a BMW, but there isn't just enough physical controls, and some of the finishing materials aren't what we are used to with BMW. Nice to see climate vents back here. The ISOFIX latches are pretty easy to access if you're a parent, and we can drop the backrest from the trunk. So let's go to the trunk. Check it out. Very big and deep. It's basically levels of older BMW 7 Series. There's no storage under the floor or no spare tire. So you rely on the fix-a-flat system, some extra pockets here, grocery bag hooks, and you can drop the seats from here. You just drop them. That only releases the latch. We have to manually fold them. Alrighty, let's take this thing for a spin and see what it's all about. Have to start it back again. When you exit the vehicle, it automatically shuts off. Now, one thing about me is I've always been a fan of the 5 Series since the E34, E39 generation. This car has always had an understated design, more than average driving dynamics, and just checked many boxes for someone who wants a daily that's comfortable, that you can eat up miles in, and at the same time, just have something that's fun to drive on the road like that. Is that the case with the new G60 generation? I can already tell you not. Design aside, this became more of a luxury vehicle that is very tech heavy. We have lots of screens, all of those slides, and pretty disconnected driving experience. What do I mean by that? Well, old BMWs, even something like an E60 generation from mid-2000s, had great inputs, steering that provided feedback. You could feel what was going on with the brakes, the suspension, had more aggressive tuning. That's not the case with the newest G60 generation. I think it all started with the F10 in 2010s when BMW started going towards that upscale luxury feel and was taking away some of the driving dynamics. They brought some of it back with the G30 generation, but the cars were still gaining weight and becoming more software driven. So how's the 550? It's a plug-in hybrid, so it's a modern vehicle that prioritizes fuel efficiency and comfort. Well, when you drive it on a daily basis, it's amazing. We have 308 horsepower coming off that 3-liter inline-6, which is plenty already. You add that extra torque from electric motor, and this thing is super fast. I mean, you get plenty of passing power, the 8-speed automatic transmission works super smoothly, and the suspension itself has far better calibration than the new M5 that I tested a few months ago. The M5 sometimes felt like it was coming up with its own bumps and non-existent road imperfections with a lot of vibration. The compression and rebound weren't all that great. Here, with less weight and softer suspension setup, this feels far better, and I think it's one of my favorite mid-size sedans. We have a very good cabin isolation, no laminated side windows, but everything that's happening under the floor soaks up a lot of noises, and this is a typical German highway cruiser. You can do probably 160 miles an hour in it and feel very comfortable, stable, and confident in it. But with 483 horsepower on board, this thing should be fun to drive, right? I mean, it's a BMW at the end of the day. So let's see what this thing can do. We can put it into sport mode. It's gonna limit our DSC. The engine's gonna automatically kick in. We can put a transmission into sport. Gosh, there's so many things that you can set up in here. And wow, this thing truly is fast. The pavement is wet this morning, so we're not gonna push it hard, but I can already tell you it feels great. It has the adaptive suspension and rear axle steering mast. It's 4,900 pounds of weight, but this thing is pretty tossable. The front end feels light, and we have plenty of mechanical grip, even on those P0s that I'm not the biggest fan of. Wow, I mean, you are flying in this thing to the point where, I know it's gonna sound controversial, but it makes me question a necessity of an M5 for something that's your daily. The only argument is that we can get a touring variant of the M5. Unfortunately, we cannot get 550e touring in North America, but this thing still retains some of that BMW's DNA. You feel its weight, but inputs feel nice and are direct. The variable gear ratio steering masks the weight and makes the car feel very light, and sadly doesn't provide any feedback. I also cannot complain about the calibration of the braking system. Regen braking and friction brakes blend in very nicely. And wow, this B58 is just a masterpiece. Very smoothly delivers power all the way to the red line, and the transmission is very aggressive when it needs to be. You do feel connected to the car, you just don't feel anything what's going on with it. There was some understeer here. And it's very forgiving. It does feel like a gaming console. So you also have to be careful when you drive it. Let's see what other drive modes we have that we can try. Efficient. Let's go back into drive for it to work. And since we still have some juice in the battery, the car is gonna use electricity and become a very smooth daily. The whole electric drivetrain calibration also gives me nothing to complain about. Does it very smoothly. When the ice has to kick in, a transition is barely noticeable. BMW has been developing plug-in hybrids for, I think, 10-15 years at this point, and they really mastered them. I think together with Volvo, they make one of the smoothest plug-in hybrid drivetrains. You cannot tell the moment when the engine kicks in. You can hear it, but everything is very smooth. There's no noise, vibration, or harshness. I really like the G60 Generation 5 series, and I'm getting used to this new design language. I'm really curious what they're gonna do with the Neue class facelift that's coming either next year or in 2028. But as of now, this is a great daily. It is expensive. I mean, when you think about it, 75 grand starting price, as equipped, 87, and we don't get all the options. it's a lot of money. You might be better off with a 540i, which only has a straight 6 under the hood. It is a mild hybrid, but there's no additional electric components. Because whatever you save at a gas pump, well, you're just gonna pay more in your monthly payment, because most likely you're gonna lease this thing. So yeah, very good vehicle overall. Expensive as most cars are these days, but I think in my eyes BMW is still a leader when it comes to luxury mid-size sedans. If you guys have any questions about this thing, drop a comment and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.